Somewhere in the last week, you lied. Maybe it was small. Maybe you said you were fine when you weren't. Your face did something in that moment. You didn't feel it happen, but someone watching closely could have caught it. For decades, scientists believed lying was invisible. A clean performance, a story told smoothly enough that nothing leaked through. That belief turned out to be wrong. Your face is not as obedient as you think. Underneath the story you tell, something faster and older is running the show. What is it? To understand this, you have to go back to the 1960s, to a psychologist named Paul Ekman. Ekman wasn't interested in lying at first. He was interested in emotion. He traveled to Papua New Guinea to study a tribe that had never seen a movie, a magazine, or a Western face. He showed them photographs of expressions: fear, disgust, anger, joy. And here's the strange part. They recognized every one of them instantly, with no coaching at all. That told Ekman something enormous. Facial expressions are not learned like language. They are wired in, built by evolution long before culture existed to shape them. Your ancestors did not invent the look of fear, they inherited it: a tightening around the eyes, a retraction of the lips. These were signals long before they were expressions, and they served a purpose that had nothing to do with communication as you think of it today. Consider what fear does to a face. The eyes widen. Why? Because a wider eye gathers more light, more information, faster. Early humans who spotted a predator a half-second sooner survived it. The face wasn't performing an emotion for an audience. The face was preparing the body for a decision that might save its life. Disgust curls the nose and narrows the eyes. That's not random either. It's the same motion your face makes when something rotten is near, reducing the intake of air, protecting the lungs from spoiled meat or disease. Your ancestors' faces were survival tools first. Expression was a side effect. Now bring lying into this picture. When you lie today in a hallway over text, in a job interview, your brain has to do two jobs at once. It has to construct a false story, and it has to suppress the true one underneath it. That suppression is the expensive part. Holding down a real felt emotion takes cognitive effort, and effort has to go somewhere. It shows up. Ekman found that when people tried to mask a genuine emotion, a fragment of the true expression would surface anyway, for a fraction of a second, before the mask closed over it again. He called these microexpressions. They last as little as 1/25th of a second. Most people never consciously see them, but cameras do. And so, it turns out, do some people, if you train them. Here's the part that should unsettle you a little. Ekman ran a study with law enforcement officers, therapists, judges, and Secret Service agents, testing who could reliably spot deception in strangers. Almost everyone performed close to chance. Coin flip accuracy. Except for a small cluster of people, later nicknamed truth wizards, who scored dramatically higher again and again across different tests and different liars. They weren't reading words, they weren't reading tone. They were catching the flash, the 1/25th of a second where the real face broke through before the false one sealed shut again. But here's a twist that complicates the whole story. Not every scientist agrees that lying has one universal tell. Psychologist Bella DePaulo spent years reviewing hundreds of deception studies, looking for a single, reliable behavioral signature of lying, something you could point to and say, that's it, that's the lie. She didn't find one. No single gesture, no universal twitch. People who lie don't all avoid eye contact. They don't all touch their face. They don't all pause the same way. DePaulo's work suggests lying doesn't look like one thing. It looks like effort, and effort looks different on different people, in different situations, under different stakes. So which is true? Is there a universal leak, or is deception too individual to catch reliably? The honest answer sits in between. Microexpressions are real, measurable, and consistent across cultures because they're rooted in the same ancient wiring Ekman found in Papua New Guinea. But catching them in real time, in a real conversation, with real stakes, is far harder than a movie makes it look. Most people are terrible at it. Training helps. Stakes help, oddly, because the liar's effort increases, and effort is what leaks. There's a more recent piece to this puzzle, from psychologist Leanne Tenbrinka, who studies deception detection in high-stakes settings, courtrooms, interrogations, custody hearings. Her research points to something counterintuitive. The more consciously you try to catch a lie, the worse you often get at it. Focused, deliberate lie detection efforts frequently underperform gut instinct. Something in you, some older, faster system, is already picking up the signal. But the moment you try to reason your way through it consciously, you override the very system that was working. Think about what that means for a moment. Somewhere in your nervous system, a part of you may already be better at reading faces than you are. Not the analytical you, scanning for clues like a detective, the faster you, the one that flinched at a stranger's smile once and couldn't say why, and turned out to be right. This is where the story loops back to something ancient. Reading a face quickly, without conscious analysis, used to matter enormously. A face that flickered with hidden hostility, for even a 25th of a second, was information your ancestors needed before language existed to explain it. Trust the wrong person around a fire, in a small group, in a dangerous landscape, and the cost wasn't awkwardness, it was survival. So the brain built a shortcut, a fast, largely unconscious system for catching what a face leaks before the mind decides what story to believe. You still carry that shortcut today. It just has fewer chances to matter. You're rarely deciding who to trust around a fire anymore. You're deciding whether a coworker is being straight with you about a deadline or whether a partner's "I'm fine" is actually fine. The stakes changed. The machinery didn't. And here's the part that should genuinely make you pause. Your own face is doing this too, right now, in every conversation you have. Every time you say something you don't fully mean, to keep the peace, to avoid a hard conversation, to protect someone's feelings, your face may be leaking a flicker you'll never see and can't control. Ekman's research suggests you have almost no ability to consciously suppress every one of these signals. You can manage your words. Your face is only partly yours to command. So, what do you do with this? Not paranoia, not a compulsion to scan every conversation for hidden tells, because DePaulo's research is clear that overconfidence in lie detection often backfires, making people worse readers of each other, not better. The more useful takeaway is smaller and stranger. The next time a gut feeling rises about someone, before you have words for it, consider that it might not be nothing. It might be your ancestors' oldest surveillance system, still running quietly in the background, having already caught something your conscious mind hasn't processed yet. You will lie again this week. Small ones mostly, kind ones probably, and your face, in that instant without asking your permission, will tell a story your mouth never meant to share.